morning, Bob here. I'm talking to you from Maui. That's right, the Maui, the one in Hawaii. I'm in paradise here. And I'll tell you, I think I'm the luckiest man on earth. And not just because I'm in Maui, although that is a good reason. I mean, I live in Michigan. It's early March. This is a good place to be. Now, I consider myself to be one of the luckiest people on earth for a few reasons. Number one, about 5 years ago, I had a heart attack. Number two, that same year, my mother had a large stroke and died. And number three, my dad's crazy. I don't mean certifiably crazy. I mean, his brain is addled. He's had several small strokes. Not really thinking very well. Yeah, I know what you're probably thinking. Heart attack, mom died of a stroke, father's got vascular dementia. You are lucky. Wish I had your kind of luck. But here's why I think I'm lucky. Number one, heart attack didn't kill me. A third of the people that have heart attacks die instantly. Another third go on to have cardiovascular problems for the rest of their lives. And the third just has that one event and they're done. So far, that's me. Actually, things worked out pretty simply. I just had chest pains. I told my wife I'm having chest pains. She said, why don't you take an aspirin? And then she drove me to the hospital. They put me on some blood thinners, put in a stent. Next day, I was home. That was it. But after I came home, they sent me to cardiac rehab, a 13-week program where they had you run on a treadmill, do some bicycling, and then once a week you'd also go to a nutritional seminar where they tell you how to eat to avoid another heart attack. The disturbing thing was that the things they told me to eat were pretty much the things that I had been eating before I had the heart attack. You know, they told me to cut back on fat. They told you not to eat anything that was more than 30% fat. Well, I've pretty much already been doing that. We all have. I mean, the low-fat craze has been going on for years now. No red meat. Well, I hadn't eaten red meat probably in 20 years. Lean chicken and fish. Well, I don't care that much for fish. Been eating chicken like crazy, chicken and turkey. Had no other choice. I went on the program. And all my follow-up visits, all my biomarkers looked good to them. They said I was doing well, but they really didn't change a whole lot from before I had my heart attack because my biomarkers really weren't bad. Blood pressure, cholesterol, all those things weren't bad. They weren't great, but they weren't bad. And they really didn't improve much on this new diet. About a little over a year ago, my dad started acting a little wacky. Took him to the doctor, found out he'd been having a series of little strokes, and he had dementia. You know, as I sat with him, he didn't make any sense to me, and that was scary. To watch your brain shutting down, kind of one blood vessel at a time. Because it kind of began to hit me that I had had a heart attack 5 years ago. My mother had a vascular problem. My father had a vascular problem. And I didn't want to end up like my father, so I started doing research. I ran across a book called The China Study. China Study was written by a biologist. What do you do to study the data from a massive study of the Chinese rural population? What happened was there was a Chinese dictator. And the cool thing about being as a dictator is you can get things done. I mean, if you're a U.S. president and you say, hey, I'd like to go study the population, what the effects of diet and exercise have on them, then you got to get a committee of doctors and they talk about it, then it goes to Congress, and then they all vote on it, and then they go, nope. We've all voted to send a case of Febreze to each person in Bangladesh. You know, so the money's already been appropriated, sorry. But if you're a dictator, you just go, hey, go look at these people. And everyone goes, yes, sir. Because they know if they don't, they might end up hanging on a wall by chain somewhere, having their toenails pulled up and being repeatedly beaten by sticks. So they went and did it. And there's a big long book called The China Study written about this. I'll give you the cliff notes. If you eat animal products, you end up with diseases of affluence, heart disease, stroke, diabetes, certain kind of autoimmune diseases. If you're poor and you just eat plants, but you get enough plants, you're a lot healthier. You don't get those diseases. If you're poor and you don't get enough plants or enough variety, then you end up with waterborne illnesses and pneumonia, malnutrition, things like that. But that's a different story. Those are diseases of scarcity. So my whole point is that following my heart attack, the American doctors put me on a diet which I've pretty much already been eating. Still emphasizes animal protein to a certain extent, and my biomarkers really didn't improve. So that's why I feel like I'm the luckiest person in the world, because I had the heart attack, and my mother and father had vascular diseases. If you use those properly, they become warnings, become a shot across your bow. They don't become tragedies, they become useful information. So I'm using the chance that these events have given me and the information I got from the China study, and I've cut all meat, animal, dairy products out of my diet. So I think that the upshot of all this is, I think all these events, although they appear to be tragic, may be saving my life. And maybe, just maybe, vastly improving the quality of my life. Because like I said, I don't want to end up with dementia in my old age. So goodbye from Maui, Hawaii. Until next time, stay healthy.